Riley for a knee bar here as Moxley immediately.
Welcome to the main event. This is True Ring News Network, your ringside access to WWE news and drama. Subscribe and let's rumble. What unfolded after the no-holds-barred match between Jon Moxley and Kyle O'Reilly wasn't just another post-match confrontation. It was a moment that sent a genuine shock through everyone in the arena. Even though the bout itself had already reached a level of intensity that left fans buzzing, no one expected the energy to shift so dramatically once the final bell rang. The crowd, still catching its breath from the physical contest they'd just witnessed, suddenly found itself pulled into a new wave of tension as Moxley, fueled by adrenaline and emotion, turned back toward O'Reilly with a look that suggested things were far from over. What followed wasn't framed as a savage assault, but rather a chaotic continuation of the night's emotional storm, an eruption of frustration and unresolved conflict that poured out of Moxley when the match should have been settling into its aftermath. Instead of celebrating a hard-earned victory, he hovered over O'Reilly, clearly overwhelmed by something boiling beneath the surface, setting the tone for the unpredictable scene that followed. A surprising turn in the ring. As O'Reilly tried to gather himself from the grueling match, Moxley's frustration seemed to spill out in a burst of unrestrained energy. Though far less graphic than some of his past outbursts, his actions still carried enough impact to make fans shift uneasily in their seats. The situation didn't cross into outright harm, but it definitely signaled that something deeper was brewing inside Moxley, something that went beyond competitive spirit. His pacing, his gestures, and the unmistakable intensity on his face made it clear he was wrestling with more than just an in-ring opponent. It felt like the kind of moment where emotion overrides reason, where the atmosphere changes not because of violence, but because of the raw, unpredictable nature of human reactions under pressure. O'Reilly, exhausted and still recovering from the match, could only respond with confusion as the tension in the ring deepened, turning what should have been a calm conclusion into an unexpected chapter of its own. Allies rushed to support their own. Recognizing the shift in tone, Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong wasted no time running down the ramp in an effort to check on O'Reilly. Their entrance didn't feel like a dramatic rescue. It felt deeply human. The concern written across their faces showed just how seriously they were taking the situation. They knew Moxley wasn't acting out of malice as much as he was acting out of overwhelming emotion, but they also knew that O'Reilly needed space to regain his footing. The sight of Cassidy, usually so composed, moving with genuine urgency, added another layer of weight to the unfolding moment. Strong, always fiercely loyal to his friends, immediately positioned himself between the two men with protective instinct. Their presence added a sense of grounded calm to a scene that had become unpredictable, reminding everyone in the building that, rivalries aside, there are bonds of respect and friendship that run deep in this sport. It became apparent that this wasn't just about competition. It was about concern, about connection, and about supporting a teammate when emotions run high. Reinforcements arrive at ringside. Just as Cassidy and Strong stepped in to stabilize the situation, a new wave of wrestlers appeared at the top of the ramp: Wheeler Yuta, Daniel Garcia, and Claudio Castagnoli. Their arrival didn't feel like a coordinated strike, but rather a group of teammates stepping in, because they sensed that Moxley wasn't in the headspace to cool down on his own. They didn't approach with aggression. Instead, they moved with the intention of guiding the entire moment back under control. Castagnoli, known for his calm decisiveness, immediately assessed the situation. Yuta and Garcia hovered nearby, not looking to escalate anything but ready to support Moxley if he needed grounding. Their presence shifted the energy once more, from tense unpredictability to something more structured, almost like a group of friends trying to step in before things went too far emotionally. The arena watched in silence, not out of fear, but out of curiosity. What was pushing Moxley to act this way? What internal conflict was driving him? And what role would these arriving allies play in getting him back to equilibrium? A command that changes everything. The scene reached its most intriguing point when Castagnoli, in his calm and authoritative manner, gestured to Garcia and spoke to him quietly but firmly. Whatever he said was enough to make Garcia immediately follow Moxley through the crowd, a move that carried a sense of mystery rather than menace. Fans weren't seeing the formation of a violent faction. They were seeing the possibility of an evolving alliance, one built around shared experiences, mutual respect, and perhaps a collective desire to support a teammate going through an emotionally charged moment. The gesture wasn't threatening, it was strategic. It hinted that something was developing behind the scenes, something that could change the dynamic of the locker room and the unfolding narratives in the weeks ahead. The crowd leaned forward, sensing that this moment was planting the seeds for something bigger, not rooted in harm, but in storytelling, tension, and character development. Concern takes center stage. Meanwhile, Cassidy and Strong continued their attempts to help O'Reilly regain his bearings. Though the match had taken a toll on him physically, what really stood out was the genuine care his friends showed. Wrestling often presents moments of intense rivalry, but scenes like this highlight the humanity behind the spectacle. Cassidy, usually detached and nonchalant, moved with an urgency that fans rarely see. Strong kept steady pressure on maintaining space between O'Reilly and the emotionally charged energy still lingering from Moxley's presence moments earlier. Together, they guided O'Reilly toward the backstage area, speaking to him calmly, ensuring he stayed focused and secure as he walked. This wasn't about dramatic injury. It was about aftercare, support, and acknowledging that even the toughest competitors sometimes need a moment to regroup. It was a reminder that behind the storylines and the showmanship are people with emotions, limits, and the need for support from those who care about them. A scene that redefined the night. The entire sequence, from the conclusion of the match to the final moments backstage, felt like a masterclass in live storytelling. The unpredictability didn't stem from brutality, but from emotion, loyalty, conflict, and the raw, real tension that emerges when competitive spirits collide with personal pressures. Fans weren't left shocked because of harm. They were left invested because the moment felt honest. It highlighted shifting alliances, unspoken frustrations, and the beginning of a narrative that could take countless compelling directions. The arena buzzed with conversations as people tried to make sense of what they had just witnessed. Online discussions quickly lit up as viewers debated what Moxley's outburst meant, how O'Reilly would respond, and what Castagnoli's quiet but decisive leadership might lead to. Instead of focusing on violence, the conversation turned to character motivations, emotional turning points, and the potential for new developments in the weeks ahead. Would this spark a new alliance? Would O'Reilly seek redemption or confrontation? Would Moxley open up about what pushed him to that moment? These questions created a sense of anticipation that only great storytelling can achieve,